Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Aquaponics World. And today I am going to be doing a water change out. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get my tote here and get my little hose going on over here. Actually, you know what? I might just fill up these, that's right, I'm just going to fill up these fish tanks. I don't need the tote. So I'm going to use, you see I got a like a garden hose here. I'm just going to hook that up. I got that hooked up to my sink downstairs. So I'm just going to turn that on and fill up these here fish tanks full of water. I am going to remove some water from the fish tank. You know, it's already lost a little bit of water just from evaporation. Oh, and by the way, you can see my my plants are doing just fine in here. They're getting a little bit more ammonia than they probably like, but they're doing okay. Obviously, they're bright green and everything. The fish tank itself, it's been a couple of weeks since I've cleaned it, so it's getting a little bit yellow, a little bit dingy, but I'll get it cleaned up here and drain out some of that water. Let's see. I guess I could take the hose and just take some of this water out first. So why don't I do that? So again, the way to get rid of the water when you have one of these nice cylinder pumps is you just take this hose right here and open up your window and stick that hose right out your window like that. Close the window on it, whatever you got to do. And then basically what you do is you close the out valve, and then you open up this service valve. And what that does is that takes the water, instead of the water coming in from here and then spitting it back out into the fish tank, it comes in from here and spits it out the service valve. So it just pours out the window. So I'll just go ahead and take out about a quarter of the water. Just kind of keep an eye on it. Don't want to get it too low. And as soon as it gets down, let's see, here's about half right here. So right about here. Not too much lower than it is, just a little bit lower. It's already about 1/8 of the way, if not more. So just about, well, let's see. Here's half. So about, I don't know, just another inch or so I'll take off of there, and I'll be right back. All right, so that's about a quarter of the water right there. I mean, it was right here, so I took it down a little bit further because it is pretty yellow. That's plenty. So again, to shut it off, you just turn the service valve off, and there's like a little valve right here, and open up the out valve. And then you can just take this and reattach it on there. And now I will fill up the fish tanks in the back, the reserve tanks, with water. And while I fill up those tanks, I'll just take my hand and scrub off the sides, you know, and scrub off the bottom. I just fed them, so I got a little bit of food sitting here on the sides. But yeah, I'll just scrub off the sides while I'm filling up those reserve tanks with water. And once I get those filled up, I'll be right back. So I cleaned off all the glass. I'm just waiting for the reserve tank to fill up. It's almost full. I'm just waiting for that to fill up, and then I'm going to switch the hose over to the other tank, and I'm going to make sure that I have plenty of water. But while I wait for that, I just wanted to mention that So far, all the plants that I've attempted to grow in hydroponics have worked just fine. I've tried tomatoes. The reason that I'm probably going to do summer squash indoors this winter is because summer squash does not need a pollinator, so it self-pollinates. So summer squash is a great idea for an indoor hydroponic plant. And again, I'm doing aquaponics, which is a little different than hydroponics. The only difference is that I'm not going to be adding any fertilizer. So I don't add any fertilizer to my plants. They get a full source of NPK from the fish water. And but I did just want to mention that, you know, I thought about maybe deleting the comments that are in my comments section, because I apparently got some trolls this last video. But hey, you know, 900, almost 900 views. I really appreciate all the views. I'm glad that I have, I think it's 91 subs. I just want to point out that I've had these fish for 2 years, and they're healthy and happy, and they're beautiful fish. You know, you don't necessarily have to have rocks and stuff on the bottom, and you don't really necessarily need to keep your water completely perfectly clear. You know, I mean, you can, you know, you can change your water out weekly and stuff, and I just, you know, went a couple of weeks without changing out my water. It's not really a big deal. The only thing that does happen is that the ammonia spikes up pretty high if you're not careful. And when the ammonia spikes up too high, the fish can die, you know. So you know you didn't clean your fish tank enough, or you don't have enough plants in your fish tank to absorb all the ammonia. You know, and getting a perfect balance between the amount of fish you have and the amount of plants you have is a really difficult process. Now, I'm not saying that I've reached that point yet. I would love to say that I don't do any water change outs, because there are people that don't do any water change outs because they have just the right amount of plants to keep the ammonia level at the right level. Because the plants actually the plants actually remove the ammonia out of the water. That's the plants love the ammonia, the fish do not. So it's a symbiosis relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship between the plants and the fish. The fish feed the plants, and the plants remove the ammonia that the fish don't want. To get that perfect amount of plants per fish is difficult. I'm definitely trying to get there by adding these plants into my fish tank. But yeah, doesn't matter what kind of plant you put in there. You can put whatever kind of plant you want. And I just wanted to say that I'm going to leave the comments exactly the way they are, with as much hate as they've got in them, because it's, you know, obviously, if you want to troll my YouTube channel, by all means, feel free. I'm getting, you know, the more people that view it and comment their dislikes on it are still adding to the algorithm, which gets me views, obviously. So I appreciate all your haters. I appreciate all of the people that think that I'm doing things wrong, you know. And hey, if you have comments, you know, feel free to comment if you think I should be doing something different. If you have experience in this, by all means comment. I appreciate any kind of suggestions and feedback. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to take it, but you know, I am doing what I've been doing for 2 years, and I'm going to continue to do it. I may add some little details to it, but right now I'm just doing a quarter water change out, which I do weekly usually, and yeah, I'll be posting a video probably once a week. And I have been for the past 2 years, and I appreciate everybody that watches these videos, and I hope you get a fish tank and enjoy the benefits of having pets. They're really fun to watch. and having plants. They're really fun to look at. But the major thing is learning how to grow without soil and without fertilizer. That's the goal here, you know, maybe even growing some fish to eat. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut that water off once it fills up, and I'm gonna get to filling these tanks back up with some clean water. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got those tanks filled up with the water, and I'm just going to be adding a couple of drops of this stuff to it. This is just water conditioner. Helps you get rid of the chlorine. You want 2.5 milliliters for every 5 gallons of water. And I have about 10 gallons of water in my reserve tanks. So I'm going to be adding about 5 milliliters of water conditioner. So that will just go right in here, like that. And I just mix that around a little bit, and I let that sit for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and let that sit for about 5 minutes, and then I will add that water back into the fish tank to replace the quarter of the water that I took out. Okay, so I've waited the 5 minutes for the water conditioner to kind of get rid of the chlorine in the water. And now I'm just going to take this service valve off the lid there, put it down to the very bottom of this reserve tank that I have. And again, if you have a fish tank and you have a cylinder pump, it makes it so much easier to do water changes. I can't express to you how much easier it is. It really makes a huge difference, especially if you have a big fish tank. It is like night and day. Let me see if I can move this over. Move that over there, and then stick this in between here. I have problems with this every single time I do this. I'll get this down. But basically, I just kind of wedge that hose in between the two. So now, instead of closing the out and opening the service valve, now I'm going to close the in and open the service valve. And what that does is it stops the water from coming in from the fish tank and back out into the fish tank, and makes it go in from the service valve and back out into the fish tank. So what's happening right now is that water is coming out of this into the fish tank from this. So I'm taking clean water and putting it back in here to replace that quarter of the water that I took out. So that's basically all there is to do with the weekly maintenance. There is monthly maintenance on the cylinder pump, but I cover that as well, and I take you through every step of using a cylinder pump. They're all pretty much the same, I would assume. It's basically just you know, cleaning the filters that are in here. You know, you got to unplug it, take off the lid, drain out the water, and clean the filters. And you know, once every 6 months you replace some stuff, and once a year you replace some stuff. And that's about it. You can keep these forever as long as you replace the stuff. Like I've had mine for 2 years, works just fine. And again, I have a new stock growing out of the plant. This was Alice. This is Frank over here. Frank is doing just fine. Alice is doing really good as well. Growing some new sprouts out of the roots. So yeah, it's loving its new environment and loving all this ammonia, and I'm sure the fish appreciate having something drinking up all their ammonia. So thanks again for watching, and once I get this all filled up, I will go ahead and shut off these valves, and I'll be done with this weekly change out. One thing that I'd like to remind my viewers is that someday the world will run out of usable soil, and when the earth does run out of usable soil, everyone on earth will starve to death, animals included. So learning how to grow aquaponics is not just a fun pastime, but looking forward to the future of something that's coming within the next I'd say tops, we're talking about 40 years, but even sooner than that, probably within the next 10 years, you'll start to notice that a lot more people are starving. Prices of groceries are only going up. So following along with this process, you'll learn a little bit of aquaponics that I know from a couple of years of college. But anyways, I hope you can learn something from my videos, and thanks again for watching, because it's really important. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to fill this water all the way up to the top using this water here. Trying to make sure that this hose stays at the bottom of the water so that it doesn't suck up any air. And before it gets overfilled, I need to stop it, and before I suck all the water out of the tank, I need to stop it. So, you know, it doesn't auto shut off, unfortunately. It would be nice if it had a float valve in there and it would automatically shut off. That is something I'm trying to figure out how to do, is have a float valve going so that I can keep it regulated, because it basically almost loses a quarter of a tank of water evaporation wise, so I could just replace that with a float valve. But this works. I definitely like having it going through my filter and using this pump to pump the water out of this fish, out of this reserve tank, to put it back in here. But there we go, we got it about full, and this is just about empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shut off this service valve and reopen the end valve, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to take this out of here and go disconnect this from my sink. You don't want to leave it in the water when you disconnect it from the sink, because it will backflow back into your sink. But honestly, I really don't much care. I suppose I could have it backflow a little bit of this water in there, and it'll actually use gravity to suck the water from this tank. The extra water that you have, it'll use that to suck that down the stairs and back into your sink. So anyways, like I said, I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you understand that. Oh, and I went to go pull out some seeds for my summer squash. I was going to start some summer squash today, but I did lose the lid for my summer squash seeds for my starter kit. So I'm going to go to the store and pick up another starter kit. They help a lot with getting it started. But yeah, maybe next week I will show you guys some seedlings getting started, and we'll start doing some new stuff, maybe growing some summer squash indoors, hopefully. But thanks for watching. Have a great night.